All right, I just wanted to share with everyone a drill that we did the other day on our facility day. We had a driver training, so I wanted to do something called maximizing your hydrant. Um, I'd gone over drills like this before, but I wanted to put into place, see how it worked out. So we ended up doing two drills, or three drills this day. The first drill was we laid 400 feet of 5-inch supply from the hydrant, and we tried to flow as much as we could from the engine. And we ended up flowing about 800 GPM, and we had 10 PSI residual left over. So we actually flowed the duck gun and 2.5 off the back. And we ended up getting, like I said, 800 GPM with 10 PSI residual, so there's nothing else we could flow from it. Drill number two was we had a reserve engine. We pulled that in, and we hooked the reserve engine up to the hydrant and had the reserve engine supply the attack engine. So we still had the 400 feet of 5-inch, but the only different variable that we put in was the second engine was relay pumping from the hydrant, and we ended up flowing 962 GPM with 20 PSI residual. So we ended up getting about another hand line flowing out of that, and we had 20 PSI residual left over from it. And that was giving us everything that they could in RPM modes. So the third drill was we had the supply engine actually hook into the 2.5 port on the side of the engine to allow more water. So if you guys aren't aware, with a hydrant, if you're hooked up to the 5-inch, you're only getting about 75% of the actual water in that hydrant. The 2.5 ports are actually going to add to it, about 12.5% each one if you do the math for it. So you're only getting 75% of the hydrant if you're just using 5-inch. So I had them tap in with a 2.5 and then do the same thing, and we ended up getting a total. We ended up getting like, what was the last one? Let me look real quick. 962. So we ended up getting almost 300 more GPM just by putting that 2.5 on the side. So we were flowing 1212 GPM with a 10 PSI residual. So you might be asking, hey, why even do all this? The whole point was, hey, we don't get big fires too often, but when we do, we need to maximize the hydrant to get as much water as possible. So the summary I came up with after doing this drill was when laying a 5-inch supply line of 300 feet or more, put an engine on the hydrant to relay pump, and then also tap into that 2.5 port for some more water. We only have one intake on our engines, so if you were to use that other 2.5 port on the side of the hydrant, you'd have to come up with a configuration to use that other another intake, because we only have the 2.5 intake. So just to recap real quick, drill number one, with just laying 400 feet of 5-inch and flowing as much as we could, we got 800 GPM. Drill number three, which had to put a second engine on the hydrant to relay pump, we ended up getting about 400 more GPM by relay pumping and tapping in that 2.5 on the side. So hope you guys learned something from this, but I just want to put it out there for everybody so they can learn what we did from it. All right, later.